there, and welcome. It is the Nisha Jackson Show. My name is Rusty Humphries. I'm just kind of here to kind of keep the show going. Nisha's the star of the show, and man, you're out of the country, and I've never. How long would you say we've known each other? 10, 15 years, maybe more?
15, yeah. 15's right, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I met her when she was 15, and and I've never. There's something going on with you right now. I've never seen you as. I mean, you're always excited. You're always up. You're always jazzed. But something's different today. What's going on?
Wow, that's a perfect lead-in.
Huh?
Thank you.
But it's true too. It's true. What's going on?
I know this sounds like I just probably took some great drug. Actually, I did, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I just got back from this awesome retreat in Costa Rica. It completely and utterly transformed me. And in 8 days, I got transformed. I got realigned with myself. I raised my vibration really high, and I just feel unloaded. I feel good. I feel great. I feel happy. And the strange thing is, what you just said, Rusty, is that I'm a really happy person. I do a lot of great things to keep me happy. Yeah. I give back. I take care of myself. I work with people and they heal right in front of me. I mean, that gives me great happiness. But there's always something inside of you that's kind of like gnawing, that's just not right. And, that's kind of eating away at your happiness. It could be, you're starting to drink too much, or maybe people are like dealing with anger, or they're dealing with sadness, or they're going through financial problems. I mean, whatever it might be, just something that is always like, eating at people just a little bit. But on the surface, they look so happy. And I can relate to that a little bit because I am a happy person, mm-hmm. and I have a lot to be happy about. But there were some things I was dealing with that I just felt like I needed to get to the bottom of. And so I chose to go to this retreat last week. I just got back late last night. So you're catching me fresh, hat and all. And I just feel, I think probably the best word is just joyful. I feel really, really, really happy.
Okay, I mean, that's awesome. Why again, what happened at this retreat that made you so happy? What is giving you this extra energy and happy and this extra smile?
Yes. Well, it's funny because this was a very personal thing for me. Not very many people knew that I went. Now a lot of people are going to know that I went. But I really felt it was important for me to come home and share my experience, because there's so many people, maybe the whole world can relate to this on some level. And that is that when you have something that you're processing and, you kind of just don't give it a lot of credit. It's an emotion, like I said, whether it be anger or extreme sadness or things that have happened to you in your past, or maybe there's some things that you're doing on a regular basis that are lowering your vibration. What happens is that you get almost like misaligned with yourself. All of a sudden you start making decisions for yourself that are not very healthy, like working too much or not eating good things. All of a sudden you do things that lower your vibration. But the reality is that our life requires us to operate at a very high vibration because our lives are really full. They're very stressful. And so in order to get through your day, you have to have a very high vibration. Otherwise, what happens is you get to the end of your day and it might only be 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock's kind of like my witch hour. By 4 o'clock, I'm maxed out because I start my day at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then I just go crazy all day long, just back to back with the things that I need to get done. And by 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I'm just spent. And what happens is that our life is so full that it requires us to be on a very high vibration. But if we're not living a high vibration lifestyle because we're dealing with, unresolved irritability or unresolved sadness or even some self-care things that we're doing that are not very healthy for us, it's going to move you into a state of anxiety or a state of depression or a state of, just having physical body pain or insomnia, whatever it might be. And I just recognize some of those things in me that I'm working too much. I'm not taking as good of care of myself as I'd like to. And
Wait, you're working too much? Come on, that's just crazy talk.
I know.
Guys, you have no idea. Part of my job is I work with a lot of high profile, high, energy people, and I could usually get a hold of them. Nisha, on the other hand, it's like trying to get a hold of the Pope. I don't know, she's everywhere all the time. I mean, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. To be honest with you, which I don't really like that saying very much. Like, what am I going to be dishonest with you? I think that a lot of my, and I'm going to call it workaholism. I think a lot of my drive to achieve and my drive to help people and my drive to be more and more and more was really a mask for some of the things that I had not dealt with emotionally in my life. And I'm talking about things from years ago and even in the last year. And I just knew before I went to this retreat that I needed something more. I needed a healing. I needed to be able to really look at those issues straight in the eye and come to grips with them, acknowledge them, and then move them out. And that's what this particular retreat is really designed to do, is almost like break you down to the point where you can look exactly at the problem, figure out exactly what you need to do, and then move through it. And once you unload some of that stuff, Rusty, it is the most incredible feeling. Your whole perspective changes. So I'm just really feeling like I have a lot of gratitude right now for finding this particular retreat. It's called Rythmia. It's in Costa Rica, and it really had a perfect combination for me of yoga and Ayurvedic eating and massage therapy and colonics, colon therapy, hydrotherapy, a lot of personal growth classes. We did some plant medicine, which is medicine from the jungle that really helps you process some emotions on a very deep level. So it was a great combination.
What was the eating thing? What did you say? What kind of eating?
It's called Ayurvedic eating. It's just very organic, lots of fruits and vegetables, very pure food, like the highest vibration foods you can eat.
When you start talking vibrations,
yeah,
I mean, it's a little nutty sounding at first, and I'm sure, and you're kind of somebody that I'm sure you've been skeptical. Were you skeptical at first when they started talking about vibrations, and how did you change your mind on that?
Right. So vibration is a very common term for me. I mean, I use it a lot because my goal with my patients when they come in and they're feeling like they have chronic fatigue or they have body pain or maybe they have depression or insomnia or migraine headaches, whatever it might be, my goal is to take them where they're at, which that is operating at a very low vibration, like a low frequency. Everything is energetic, right?
Right.
So you can tell when people are vibrating at a low level, meaning their energy is low. So in order to be successful and feel good and have the least amount of physical ailments, you have to be vibrating at a high level. Like your energy level is high. Okay. We'll refer to vibration as energy.
Okay, I mean, but still not something that your normal family practitioner is going to talk about, right?
Absolutely not. No,
Why?
But that it's a very comfortable term for me to use because I use it a lot with my patients. And, there's a lot of things that drag down our vibration: unresolved emotions, eating junk food, not getting enough sleep, not meditating, not taking time out to get your brain unwound, not having healthy relationships, surrounding yourself with too many negative people. There's so many things that affect our vibration. But what I'm saying is that we live a lifestyle that actually requires a high vibration. But if you're operating at a low vibration, you are going to get sick. You're going to get anxiety. You're going to have a physical ailment. You're going to be depressed. Something is going to happen. And I started to recognize some of those things happening to me, Rusty, where I just wasn't feeling very happy. Like I'm talking about inside.
Right.
And externally, I don't think people would question that for me. I do a lot of work with people to help them achieve more in their life, physically and emotionally. But I was just noticing inside of myself that maybe maybe I was running from something personally. And indeed I was. There were 4 things that came up during the week that are things that I'm going to say I processed emotionally that I probably needed to do for many years. And I just feel amazing. I just feel so much better. And
That's
so that's
awesome.
what I wanted to talk about that today. Just some things that people can do to get back and get realigned with themselves. Because I don't think you have to go to Costa Rica to do this, although I think the whole world should go to Costa Rica and do this at Rythmia, because the whole world would be a better place if people out today.
That was kind of what I was going to ask you. Okay, what did you learn? What can we do from things that you've learned from Costa Rica? Is there anything that you can pass along, or is it all proprietary down there and there's nothing that can be done here in America?
No, there's lots of things that you can do, on your own. And while I think I've been a huge proponent personally, I'm like, okay, if I get up in the morning at 5 or 4:30 and I exercise, I try to exercise every day, and I eat well, and I meditate, not every day, and I actually hadn't been for a while. If I just keep my basics going, then I'm going to be fine no matter how much I pile onto my plate. But the problem is I'm 55 now, and it's getting harder to kind of keep all the balls in the air. I'm just going to say, after this many years of keeping this kind of pace, it's wearing me down. But I think it's wearing me down more because I'm not doing some of the things that I should be doing, and also a combination of unresolved emotional issues that just needed to be processed.
Right.
And you don't have to be a crazy person to have unresolved emotional issues. You really don't.
I mean, most everybody has that, right?
I know that could be debated,
Yeah.
crazy person part, but I really don't think you have to. You don't have to be nutty to have issues that stem from your childhood or what people told you. And at this particular retreat, they call them packets. And we go through our whole life like swallowing packets of information that we've received and we've taken in and we've accepted that information. But it's not true.
Okay.
And even little things like, if you find yourself, which I was doing this, Rusty, I was finding myself driving and getting set off by people on the road. Okay, that's like low level thinking, right? That's low level reactions.
Low level, or what everybody else does. That's called road rage. It wouldn't be the first time that's ever happened before.
I was getting road rage. I was getting tipped off by somebody's email. I was just kind of on the edge, and I just think my plate was too full. Ironically, this is the most ironic thing, is my book just came out 3 months ago called Brilliant Burnout. I wrote a book on this.
Right.
and yet I'm still really hitting this stuff right head on. And I guess I just love that about myself, that I'm okay with saying, I had to work through some shit. And I'm okay with that. I think it's okay to say that. And I think the more authentic you are and the more authentic you strive to be, the more change you can make in the world. And so I'm pretty on fire right now. Feeling pretty good.
That's awesome. Okay, so and I'm guessing you're going to start doing this in your practice now too, a little bit more, right?
Yes. I mean, certainly the things that I am going to reincorporate back into my life, absolutely right off the bat, is daily meditation and breathing. The breathing exercises that we did was a very different type of breathing. It got you into almost a hypnotic state, which people can do on their own. And the thing is, we spend so much of our day, well, all of our day, from the minute we wake up until we go to sleep at night, almost like just plugged in. We talked about this, on a previous show, just plugged into all of our devices and sensory input overload constantly. And I think until we can unwind our brain and get some oxygen into our brain, it will make you feel cluttered in your mind. And no wonder we can't make good decisions about food, and bad decisions about drinking too much, or bad decisions about relationships, or who we choose to spend our time with, or who we choose to believe, or who we choose to set us off. No wonder we don't get that, because I think if we just went above ourselves and looked down at our lives, it would look a little mad, So I am immediately going to incorporate back in some breathing exercises, which is something I want to talk about today. My yoga needs to get back into I haven't done yoga for a couple years. I'm embarrassed to say yoga is one of my most favorite things, and I haven't done it for a while. So I'm incorporating that back in.
Why haven't you done it? Just because it takes too much time?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have certain blocks of time for things, and I just wasn't taking enough time to do it. And the reality is, the more time you take to take care of yourself, the more you actually can be accomplished. The more you can accomplish. And I think people think the opposite, because they're thinking, I don't have 2 hours a day to take care of myself, plan my food, do my exercise, do my meditation, do my breathing, do my yoga. I don't have 2 hours. I barely have 10 minutes.
Right.
The problem is that you will pay for that at some point during the day, because you're going to have a mental breakdown about 3 o'clock where your brain's fuzzy and you can't remember anything, and your concentration's poor, and you're snapping, you're flying off the handle with people. So I'm going to incorporate some of those things that I know will keep me centered, because I want to be in the self-care business for the rest of my life. I want to be able to help people achieve better health and better balance until I take my last breath. And that's really important to me. I will never stop working with people, but in order to do that, I have to really stay focused on myself.
Okay.
And stay focused on and becoming the best person I can be.
And you're feeling better from the pneumonia a couple weeks ago too, it looks like.
Yes, that was the beginning of, I was starting to get worried about myself. I had an abnormal mammogram recently that still has not been processed. I had a 7-inch incision on my shoulder with a big basal cell cancer taken out. I was starting to, like I told you, get really irritable and flying off the handle. And I'm like, this is not me.
Right.
This is not who I am. And so when you start getting those little warning signs, you kind of start worrying about, like, where is this headed? This is not headed anywhere good.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's really not who I am. And I just wanted more. And so I chose to go to this retreat actually a couple of months ago, but it was, ironically, things were continuing to get worse for me. And it was like red flag, red flag, red flag. And so I just feel really good about the fact that I chose to go. It was probably the bravest thing I've ever done. A lot of this work is very scary. And it's kind of scary to look at yourself and admit, yeah, I'm doing that. I am that person. And it's not pretty. Like, you don't go to these retreats and find out all the great things about yourself.
Right.
You go to these retreats and, it breaks you down to your very core, because the whole idea is to realign you with your soul. And once you're broken down and you look right in the face of who you are and what you've become, you will realign yourself and your heart will be healed. Wow. And I loved that about this particular treatment, and I know that I need it. And a lot of people that I've talked to, even since I've been home just today, the things that I learned, Rusty, were so simple. And one of the things that I learned, and I think this is so important to talk about, because I think a lot of people, if not maybe the majority of people, deal with this very toxic behavior, and that is blame and shame. And there's been thousands of books written on this topic of blaming people for what they don't have, or what they did to them, or the pain that they're in, and then shaming those people, and then ultimately blaming and shaming themselves. And people who are workaholics like me, or high achiever people like me, often are dealing with blame and shame because they're trying to achieve more to be able to feel better about themselves. And I know I was doing that. And so part of the treatment that I went through was really revealing that in so many different ways. And I got to tell you, I just dumped that. I mean, I got rid of that, because that does not serve me well. And and then also just being able to learn how to trust. And I think a lot of people today don't trust themselves. They don't trust the decisions they're making. They don't trust the person they've become. And then ultimately, they're not trusting other people either. And it affects relationships in a really negative way. Work relationships, I've been talking a lot on the radio and TV shows and writing articles for my book right now, that requests that have come in about toxic stress in the work environment. And people really wound up about stress at work, but really what it is, it's what's happening inside of them. It's not really their job most of the time. It's not their job. It's not their work hours. It's not their job. It's what's happening inside of them that is unwinding them. So that all became really apparent to me this last week. And so I'm going to incorporate some of my self-care habits so I can raise my vibration and get back to who I was meant to be.
So here's first of all, what is the name of this magical place you went to? How could I go or someone else go and find out more about it?
Yes. So the name of the retreat's called Rythmia Self-Enhancement Center. And
spell that?
Yes. Rythmia. I think that's how you spell it. Oh gosh.
All right, we'll try to find it, and we'll make sure it's on the notes with the podcast. So you'll be able to find that, and I'll have it the links on there.
Yeah, don't quote me. I'm still kind of dizzy from the whole week, so
that's okay. And I know you are dizzy. So here's what I want to do. I want to take end this show, and we're going to start another show right after this. So if you're listening, you can just go ahead and go to the next podcast, because I want to talk about the breathing. And I want to talk about some of the things that you learned and maybe give us some examples of what we should do. What do you think about that?
I'd love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nisha Jackson, if you want to find out more about her, and you should, first of all, the book is out there, and it's great. It's called Brilliant Burnout, right? How successful, driven women can stay in the game by rewiring their bodies, their brains, and their hormones, right?
That's You got it.
Okay,
we got the book.
We got the book, and that's available where?
It's available on all online bookstores. You can go to nishajackson.com, my website, to get more information about the book or just about self-care. But yeah, online probably the best place to get it.
Also, peakmedical.com is a great place to find stuff, and also nishajackson.com, correct?
peakmedicalclinic.com.
Peakmedicalclinic.com. So you don't want to miss that. All right, Nisha Jackson, one of my favorite people on the planet, and I bet you she's one of yours too. Go check out the book again, Brilliant Burnout's there, nishajackson.com, peakmedicalclinic.com, right? Want to get that. Okay, that's it. We'll see you next time. I'm Rusty Humphries. She is Nisha Jackson, and this is the Nisha Jackson Show.